This is the second video in the General's Abilities series, where we'll be looking at the Warrior General. The Warrior General brings two abilities, the War Cry and the Intimidate ability. The Intimidate ability can be very useful against barbarian sword generals that are going to be using their Headhunt, Battle Rhythm and then Second Wind. If you allow them to get Headhunt and Battle Rhythm but stop them from getting their Second Wind, they will be slower and less effective in combat for quite some time after that. If you rear charge enemy units when you use the War Cry, and ideally you would have some Flaming Shot in there as well, rear charge losing significantly, then you're going to be able to break a lot of enemy units. So there are several ways to use the Intimidation. You can either use Intimidate to stop the enemy unit from getting to use its abilities. So if you use Intimidation on the Swordmasters, they won't be able to use their Battle Rhythm Headhunt when they charge into combat. So that can potentially be very useful if they're up against high value targets. If they're, for example, up against your Evocati or something else, then it can be very useful to just stop them from becoming even more fearsome on the charge. Still, you might want to wait for a while until the abilities wear off, because then they will be fighting in a fatigued state. And if you're able to use the Intimidation to like here, the Swordmasters are activating their Headhunt to increase their melee attack. And what will happen then is that if this was controlled by a human opponent, usually the Headhunt would be accompanied by the Second Wind to stop the Swordmasters from getting the negative effects of the fatigue penalties afterwards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Intimidate when it's done. Then I'm going to use War Cry together with a rear charge. Probably won't be enough to break them now. Not even close. Well, let's just see what happens to their morale if I rear charge and Intimidate. So they're going to go down to steady and shaken and start wavering at 70-80 men, and these guys have 70 morale. So this is massive. They are actually routing because the army is losing and such, but if you use this set of abilities, then you can shut down enemy barbarian generals. You can shut down... It can be very effective on Eastern generals as well. If you have, say, a general that has trample or a general that has precision shot, you'll be able to use those without penalty. But using the warrior general as an anti-barbarian general unit can be super useful, especially for factions like Rome and Carthage that have very cheap, very mobile generals that can get over and use the War Cry and the Intimidate abilities at an important point in the battle. If you're, for example, able to intimidate an enemy barbarian general when he's exhausted and he won't be able to use his Headhunt, and then rear charge him, can be massive and can absolutely win you games. So the Warrior General is sort of the counter to the Strategist General in many respects, because he has abilities that directly negate the abilities of the Warrior General. So against barbarian factions, especially against Suebi and Ariovistus, I absolutely love the Warrior General. He's able to throw a massive wrench into the machinery of the enemy, into their plans. And quite often when Intimidate is being used on an Ariovistus Suebi general, you will see the Suebi actually running away from you, and that's a great time anytime that happens. Strength and honor.